There's no time limit for a seller to accept an offer. A seller may respond immediately, after weeks, or never at all. Keep in mind that a buyer can withdraw an offer on a house at any time, and the likelihood of a buyer doing so increases the longer the seller takes to respond. When do sellers typically respond to an offer? Sellers will customarily respond to an offer within 1 business day unless they are traveling or otherwise indisposed. If the seller is on vacation, the listing agent will typically respond within 1 business day and inform the buyer's agent that the seller may take longer to respond. We say 1 business day because if the offer comes in on a holiday or on a Friday, it's customary for the sellers to take the weekend to decide. Sellers will want to do this anyway because they'll typically be having an open house over the weekend and will want to use that opportunity to shop the offer they just received. Why would a seller take longer to respond? A seller can take longer to respond if your offer is too low and the seller doesn't want to bother with giving you a counteroffer. Usually, the listing agent will at least give the buyer's agent a courtesy notice that the seller didn't want to give a counter. However, some listing agents and sellers will be either too busy or just too rude and not respond at all. Another common reason for a delayed response is if the seller already has an accepted offer, and especially if the accepted offer is close to having a contract signed. In this case, the listing agent may not want to bother with showing the property again unless the deal falls through and may simply be procrastinating. A last reason why a seller may take longer to respond is if the offer isn't well documented or appears to be spam. What to do if a seller doesn't respond? You should move on and submit offers on other properties if the seller doesn't respond. There's no upside in you continuing to focus on a listing where the seller hasn't bothered to get back to you. You'll only be more emotionally invested and in a worse negotiating mindset should the seller eventually get back to you. Can you force a seller to respond? No, you can't force a seller to respond. The best you can do is to call and email the listing agent or seller repeatedly until you get an answer. If you are annoying enough, you'll usually get some sort of response, even if it's a short note to never contact them again. Even real estate association and MLS rules can't force a seller to respond. Sure, a listing agent will usually be much more professional and if pressed will usually apologize on behalf of the seller for not responding, but even a listing agent can't force their client to respond if they don't want to. Buying or selling property? Learn how you can save on broker commission and closing costs at www.housit.com.